Hi, my name is Cindy Whitmer, and I have been asked to talk about the Serenity Prayer. The Serenity Prayer. And this is actually was part of a sermon that a gentleman back in like the 1930s gave. He was an American theologian named Reinhold Niebuhr or something. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But he put it in a sermon of his. And so it goes like this, or it has several variations, but its most known version, I would say, is God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, we're going to break that down in just a minute, but I want to give you a little more history to it. That he gave it in a sermon, and then eventually one of the founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is a group that exists to help people recover from addiction to alcohol and drugs and so forth. One of the founders heard it and thought it was fabulous for people working on recovering from addiction and maintaining a sober lifestyle. And so the group, Alcoholics Anonymous, adopted it, and they always give credit to this man who first spoke this prayer, but they've adopted it. So it's become very popular among Alcoholics Anonymous groups and Al-Anon groups, which are groups that are people who are loved ones of alcoholics recovering, learning how to manage their lives, loving and living with alcoholics and so forth. So let's break it down a little bit to understand how come it is so helpful to people in these circumstances, and really to any person. This prayer is very, very helpful to us all. So the first line again is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Okay, first of all, the big word there is serenity. So grant me the serenity, which means the peace, the calm, the feeling of not being troubled. So God, give me the peace to accept the things I cannot change. So we're asking God here to help us to understand what we are not in control of in the world. This is a prayer about knowing what we can control, knowing what we cannot control, and then being at peace about those things. Okay? So the first line is, give me peace to accept what I can't change, which in Alcoholics Anonymous terms is, I can't change that this person is an alcoholic. I can't change their behavior. So I need to accept that and let it go and leave those changes to them. Okay? Then the next line is the courage to change the things I can. So asking God to give us the strength to, when we know we are in charge of something and we can change something, to give us the courage to do it. So who and what can we change? Only ourselves. Only ourselves. We can't change the weather. We can't change other people. We can't change, sometimes we can't change the political environment in which we live, or behavior of other people, but we can change everything right here. We can change our own thoughts. We can change our own behaviors. We can change our feelings. We can make all kinds of choices ourselves of what we can change. So we want courage to do it. We're asking for strength to do it. And then the last line is, and give me, God, the wisdom to know the difference. So in other words, the difference between being able to identify what can I change and what can I not change. So that is it. One of the biggest mistakes all human beings make is, if they have a problem, they work on trying to get someone else to change so they won't have the problem anymore. And that is going about the problem backwards. If you have a problem and you think it's someone else's fault, then you need to rethink it. Because you can't control them. You can't change them. You can make requests of people you are in relationships with. You can say to somebody you are in a relationship with, I don't like how you spoke to me there. If you have a problem with me, I would appreciate if you would use a calm tone, not call names and not swear. Just talk to me. And so you can make that request, but that doesn't mean you're going to change them. They can change if they want to change and feel like it's important enough to work on making those changes, but you can't do it for them. So if they continue to speak poorly of you, continue to call you names, continue to be loud and obnoxious and abusive, then what you can change is how you respond to that. Maybe you've put up with it in the past. Maybe you've yelled back. Maybe you've hit back. Maybe you've run. Maybe you've cried. But maybe you've stayed in a relationship like that. Maybe you've left a relationship like that. The point is you can decide. You can choose how to change that dynamic for yourself. Either stay there and deal with it differently, or go and deal with it differently. But you cannot change the other person. They have to do it if they want to. So the prayer is all about that. A part of Alcoholics Anonymous and the journey with them, the recovery, the 12 steps and so on, is about resigning themselves to a power greater than themselves to help them release their addiction so they can live a sober life. So that's part of how they apply this prayer in their recovery and so forth. So anyway, it's a beautiful prayer, and it's a lovely, lovely reminder that we can call on God to assist us to understand what we can do to change and what we cannot do. And even if we can't change something or someone, that we can still have peace about that, and then how to help us filter and decide what we can do and what we cannot do, and be at peace about it. So enjoy the Serenity Prayer.